going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Hillside Club. I'm James Martin III. Sitting beside me is Rob Cardini. And man, what a week of sports do we got for you. This show is built for no hot takes, just real ones, man. So amazing sports weekend, amazing sports just in general.
Oh, yeah.
You know, from the Olympics to college basketball to the NBA, just a great week. So shout out Team USA,
Yes,
baby.
sir. USA,
Shout
baby.
them out. I mean, the men win on Sunday morning and the women win Thursday. I mean, this was just an amazing week for the United States and Team USA hockey, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely incredible for both teams, both with overtime wins, both with the golden goals. I mean, the women's goal was absolutely sensational. What a move. You know, she put on for the game-winning goal, and then Jack Hughes gets the game-winning goal in the men's game. Just two absolutely incredible games. I mean, it's such a big moment for U.S. hockey as a whole. So many people have talked about it, that those wins are going to inspire a whole generation of American-born hockey players, just like, you know, the Miracle on Ice did back in the day. Just how the 2010 loss to Canada in the Olympics inspired a whole generation of U.S.-born hockey players to say, no, we have to change that narrative. We have to get back. We have to get the gold. The men's game was just truly incredible. It was one of the best games I've watched out of any sport in a long time. It had that feel of the World Cup, Argentina versus France. Even if you aren't a big hockey fan, even if you weren't a big soccer fan, you were tuning in because the game was that good. The players played out of their mind. It felt like Canada had them on the ropes for the entire second half of that game. But Connor Hellybuck played out of his mind. I have no idea how he didn't win MVP of the Olympics. I'm not really sure. I mean, they gave it to McDavid, who he had 4 assists during the knockout round. That was cool. Hellybuck should have won the MVP of the Olympics. I just think the way he played, he saved that game for them. I saw the expected goals in the gold medal game, all situations. Canada was 5.61, the U.S. 2.74. If that doesn't show you how well the goalie played, I don't know what else does.
Yeah, man.
Just incredible. And
ridiculous.
Then the emotional moment after the game, honoring Gaudreau and his family, bringing out his kids. You know, immediately they went and got his jersey. It was a really, really cool moment for Team USA.
Yeah, no, that I honestly almost got a little emotional watching that. Like, not the type to cry and all, but like watching that moment, watching his family, his parents, his wife, you know, the Gaudreau brothers, like that hit the hockey community and the sports community really hard. But to see them bring out, you know, the Gaudreau children onto the ice, that was an amazing moment. And then, you know, what an amazing tournament. I feel like everyone knows this in hockey, you know, elite goaltending shortens games. And that's essentially what he did. I'm pretty sure his, you know, the save rate was north of 93%. Like, he had himself a tournament. And like you said, I think he really also should have been the most outstanding player in the tournament. But man, you know, this is such a like monumental win for both the men's and the women's team. You know, just not for us, but for all the little kids out there that were watching, you know, on Sunday. The fact that it was a Sunday morning game where you get up and you can watch it with your friends and your family. And, you know, as a little kid, if I was 12 years old, 10 years old playing, you know, junior hockey, that game would have done a lot for me, right? Like, that inspires a generation. The same way in 1980 that, you know, that inspired a generation. The U.S. has bought into hockey on another level. And, you know, they got that amazing facility and program up in Michigan. Like, this means more to sports and the youth in America than we know it, you know. So a shout out to both the men's and the women's teams. And, you know, it's tough for Canada. It's really tough.
This is their thing.
Yeah.
Hockey is their sport.
It's
So
their identity. Yeah.
I mean, to lose both gold medal games, I mean, maybe 1-1, there's a little, you know, saving grace, but not this time. I mean, America snatched the goal from them in both games. I mean, we saw Nathan McKinnon talk post game about how, you ask, you know, you tell me who the better team was today. And you could tell they were salty about it. I mean, granted, it's a gold medal game. I mean, there's no higher stakes than the Olympics and really all of sports. So you could tell why they were upset, but a very salty remark. And it just goes to show in sports, the best team doesn't always win. So when you think of the underdog story of the American teams in both senses, and how, the men's team kind of had an extra, motivator with, Gaudreau and honoring him. You could tell, I mean, right after they won, they went and grabbed his jersey. You could tell they were playing for him. They had him on their mind. He should have been there with them. So in sports, if you have a little extra motivation, sometimes that's all that matters. The best team doesn't always win. The best player doesn't always win. We're seeing that with Connor McDavid, who, he comes up short again. I mean, best player in the world, but he's just not winning. And obviously it's a team sport, but when the moment's the brightest, we're not seeing the best Connor McDavid. And, he probably sent, because of that, Canada into a downward spiral for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, man. And it's Canada, man. In Canada, hockey isn't just a pastime like baseball is a pastime in America. It's almost like a responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they do. And for them to lose the way they did, watching those guys receive those silver medals, man, I'm kind of speechless. Like, it's tough for them. It's tough. That is their sport. That, like, there is snow and ice in almost every corner of Canada. Like, this, you were almost born on the rink. Like, that's what they do. And it's tough to see them go out that way. But hey, shout out Team USA, man. That was an amazing way to cap off the Olympics. And, just a great week in sports. Like, we had a hell of a week in college basketball.
Unreal.
And I mean, we saw upsets. We saw some of the best teams in the nation go at it. We saw Duke and Michigan. We saw BYU, Iowa State. We saw Houston, Arizona, UConn loses to Creighton. We saw so many amazing headlines in the college basketball world. And it's only building and building and building up to be one of the best postseasons we will ever see in college basketball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, just it's almost, I'm at a loss of words of how good of a week of college basketball it was. I mean, this season has just felt different. I don't know if that's because of the transfer portal and NIL, and it's, some people have said, oh, it's going to be a very chalk tournament. I don't care. If that means that the best teams are going up against the best teams in the tournament, so be it, because college basketball has just been absolutely unreal so far this season. Like you said, we had, the big time matchups between Duke and Michigan, Houston, Arizona. My main takeaway from those two games is I don't think that Michigan or Houston can win a national title. And I know people are saying that's just an overreaction. That's recency bias. It's one game in February versus two really good teams in Duke and Arizona. But when I watched those games, I saw things that say to me, they're going to come up short. And for Houston, it's just the same old thing in that they went 10 plus minutes without a field goal made. And that won't fly in the Final Four. Suffocating defense. We know that's their calling card. And it will probably propel them to a Final Four, because when a team that doesn't face them often sees that in the tournament, it's hard to respond to. So Houston will probably make a run. But when it gets down to it, lack of shot making, that's the reason why they lost to Arizona. Michigan, and still a very, very, very good team. But my opinion is this time of year, you need a guard that can take over a game. We didn't see that from Michigan versus Duke. And I think that's the reason they lost the game. I think that's the reason that they won't win the national title. A lot of people are so biased towards the Big Ten because a lot of people call them frauds. But they haven't won a national title since 2002. Exactly. So, call it what it is. I mean, the Big Ten, for whatever reason, their play doesn't seem to translate. Yeah, sure. They've had some national title game representation. Purdue recently, Michigan State's gone on a bunch of runs, but they haven't won the big one. So I don't think this is their year. I don't think this is it for Michigan. I mean, Illinois lost on a buzzer beater. I mean, just so many great games. I know that one that caught your eye was the BYU Cougars with an upset.
Absolute momentum. Like, you would have thought that, watching BYU lose Richie Saunders, like, you would have thought that would have hurt them, right? Like, you would have thought that's a killer. And they come out here, and it's almost like that was the AJ DeBonsta signature game right there. 30 points. He was one assist away from a triple-double, and he performed like, hey, I'm the number one pick in this draft. And with everything that's going on with Darren Peterson right now, I salute AJ to the type of performance he put out there. And that was against Iowa State. You know, that's a top 10 team in the nation. That's a team that lived in the top 5. Like, that is an absolute momentum push for BYU. And it's going to take, it's going to be a full team effort for them to make a run. But man, is that an amazing win for them. And I'm sure they've got, a bunch of tough Big 12 games coming up soon. But here's my take about, this national championship and the tournament coming up. I feel like it's not a hot take, but I think that this winner comes out of the SEC, the Big 12, or maybe the Big East. I don't think we see a national champion out of the ACC or the Big Ten this year. And I know people are probably like, yeah, duh. But a lot of Duke
don't forget
fans,
about Duke. Yeah, Duke fans won't be happy about that.
Here's my thing about Duke. They're really young. I know they are top tier in efficiency metrics, on both ends of the floor. They don't have a lot of bad losses. And, the championship formula is half-court execution and defense. And they've got all of that. However, they're just a little young for my liking. And in these past, 5 to 10 years, it's shown evidently that you've got to have, a lot of veteran presence on a team to go make a run. And you look at Florida, you look at UConn. Both of those teams had young guys, but they also had veteran presences all around the team. So I don't know. I think we're not going to see a champion out of the ACC or the Big.
I don't think it's a crazy take. I mean, when I think about Duke, I just think about, last year I think they arguably had a better team last year and they didn't get the job done. I mean, you had Cooper Flagg, Conconupple. I mean, you had some serious playmakers on that team and they still didn't get the job done. I think that was a better team. And I just think about, Shire, like we're going to learn a lot about him as a coach because a lot of people think Boozer is the number 1 player in the country. And a lot of people think Duke, they have one of the best defenses in the country. A lot of people think they can win the national title. I think, it might just come down to coaching. I mean, there's a clip going around about how a play he drew up, which was a phenomenal play, but I am still a little bit worried about Duke just because I think the ACC is weak, just like you do. But nonetheless, still a very, very good basketball team. Just so many good games this week. I mean, the Arkansas-Alabama double OT game, which was just absolutely electric to watch. I mean, Acuff almost goes for 50 points, and then they still end up losing, which was absolutely crazy. I mean, UConn, there was panic in stores after they lose at home. I think it was Wednesday versus Creighton, and then they followed up with a win on the road at Villanova. Hurley changes things up. They look a lot better. I mean, just so many great games. And then you follow it up with Houston going to Allen Fieldhouse tonight to face Kansas. And it's like, wow, we have another insane matchup. Houston hasn't lost 3 straight since 2017. Kansas has never lost at Allen Fieldhouse on a big Monday under Bill Self. Someone has to lose this game. I know who I think is going to win the game. James, who do you think is going to win the game? Because I think
I think it's going to be
Kansas.
Houston. Houston. Who's going to lose the game or who's going to win?
Yeah, Houston's going to lose.
No, not at all.
Oh,
no.
Boy. Well,
I think Houston makes a little. I think it's a bounce back game for both teams. But
so take the home team. Houston lost at home. Now Kansas gets to rebound at home. 40-0 at home on Big Monday under Bill Self. A lot of
distractions going on.
But Fair enough. I think that's why they lost Saturday, though. I think those distractions, those demons got exercised on Saturday in that loss. Pathetic loss, by the way. Losing to Cincinnati at home by double digits at this time of year is really, really gross. But I think they exercised those demons. Bill Self got all out. He'll have them right. I think you talked about Devonta having like his moment this past Saturday. I think tonight could be Darren Peterson's moment.
It has to be, though.
You're right. It does have to be. Even his dad took to Instagram to talk about something. I think it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Peterson said, if I could have been out there for every game this season, I would have been. So there's a lot of talk, but it's put up or shut up time for Darren Peterson in Kansas. And I do think they get that rebound win that they need tonight versus Houston. I mean, we'll find out. This episode will air, I think, right around when tip. So we'll get to see who's right. But James, I don't know, James. You're rocking with Houston. I don't know. You're gonna in a game. Think about it. Let me ask you this. They just lost the game because they couldn't hit a clutch shot. Essentially, in the second half, they go 10+ minutes without a field goal. So now you're trusting that team to go into Allen Fieldhouse and probably win a close game when the lights are the brightest on national TV?
Well, here's my thing. Houston has what it takes to win at Allen Fieldhouse. They have the grit. They have the defense. They rebound the ball really well. Those are all the things that are going to get done at Allen Fieldhouse. Yes, you need a few crazy, good shots down the stretch, but they have the intangibles to win on the road at such a hostile environment. And here's my thing about Kansas. Losing at home to Cincinnati is seismic. Like, when Kansas bleeds and they're at home, the rest of the nation will notice. And I think not just the rest of the nation, but other programs notice. Houston's out for blood, and they are coming off a loss where, they feel like they could have beat Arizona. They feel like they could have won. And, it hurts. They're going to come out there, and I think they're going to punch Kansas in the lip. And it's going to be, if we don't get a signature game from Darren Peterson, I think they don't win. However, I know a lot of people say they play better sometimes without Peterson, and he doesn't perform well, the team performs well. A lot of stuff going on.
I think he goes for 30. I think he goes for 30 or 35. I really do. I don't know. I just feel like this is his moment. He's received a lot of hate, and maybe it's deserved. I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever get the full story of what's going on in Kansas. But this guy is still phenomenal when he's on the court. I mean, his true shooting percentage is up there all time based off the amount of usage he has. Now, he doesn't pass. I mean, I think he has 1 assist over his last 75 minutes of play, which is actually insane to think about. I mean, you think with the amount of defensive attention he gets, he would be able to dish it to a couple guys who are open and make a basket. But I don't know. I mean, I just think that this is going to be his moment. Maybe I'm trusting Bill Self more than I'm trusting Darren Peterson. 40-0 at home on Big Monday. I mean, that's just insane. I don't know. I mean, really looking forward to this game. We got other great games coming up this week. I mean, UConn, St. John's rematch on Wednesday. Just an absolutely unbelievable time for college basketball. So chaotic, yet so good. Some other chaos, different sport. Yeah. The New York Knicks. Very chaotic week for the New York Knicks. They get their ass whooped by the Pistons on Thursday night. That's their third time getting rocked by the Pistons this season. And then they look like they're about to get blown out again at home to the Houston Rockets, but then have an 18-point comeback win in the fourth quarter alone. James, you're getting a little propped up for this one, so I'll let you take over from here.
You bet I am. I will say, after that Pistons game, honestly, not even after the Pistons game, by the end of the third quarter, I was fully out on the Knicks making a championship run, getting to the finals. I saw what I needed to see out of the Pistons, and that was grit. That was hustle. That was getting out in transition. That was transition defense. Everything they needed on top of shot making, all while not having Jaren Duren and Isaiah Stewart. Knicks, you were finally healthy versus the Pistons for the first time this year, while they're missing their all-star starting center and their backup center who could start on about 50% of the teams in the NBA. And we go, and Karl Anthony Towns can't get a bucket against Reed. I mean, really disheartening to watch, to see them perform the way they did. And I'm not going to, go out there and just bash the Knicks, but
why not? Go ahead.
Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns. Let it rip. I know I get at him all the time. He didn't have a terrible game versus the Pistons. He went for 21 and 11. Brunson, not a terrible game. But it's got to be those guys. It's got to start with those guys. But at the same time, the other three guys in the starting lineup were nowhere to be found. And since the All-Star break, Mikal Bridges has been shooting terribly. 5 first-round picks. A great guy, amazing defender. So I don't have a lot of negative things to say. But if that's our starting small forward, I got to see more production out of him. It's that simple. Josh Hart, you're going to get your every now and then your Josh Hart, he blanks on a game. That's fine. OG Anunoby, he's coming back from injury. But those 3 guys, we can't have a ghost game like that the way they did. And then, for them to go out the way they did versus the Pistons was really disgusting. But then for them to come back and play the Rockets, a team that has a little bit of momentum after they beat the Hornets the other night, a good Hornets team, finally. The Knicks go down 18 in the fourth quarter, and we see Karl Anthony Towns goes into another gear. A gear that we saw last year, a gear that we saw in the playoffs when he hit that step-back shot against the Pistons in Detroit to help the Knicks go up in that second round series, or that first round series. That's the Karl Anthony Towns that the Knicks need consistently on a night-to-night basis. We got 25 points and 7 rebounds out of him against the Rockets. We got last night 28 points and 11 rebounds out of him on a back-to-back with no Mitchell Robinson to help him back it up. That's the Karl Anthony Towns that is getting paid $53 million a year for. That is the Karl Anthony Towns who is one of the most prolific big man shooters in NBA history. That is the Karl Anthony Towns that shows an immense amount of effort and aggressiveness throughout the full 48 minutes of a game. And this is what the Knicks need moving forward. We cannot rely on Jalen Brunson iso ball moving forward. It's got to be Karl Anthony Towns. His shot is starting to drop a little more. He didn't miss from three-point range against the Rockets. He had a solid three-point shooting night last night versus the Bulls. If his shot comes back, he can stretch the floor again, and he can be aggressive. He can post up. And that's what the Knicks will need moving forward. We've got the depth. We've got a lot of players. That's a whole nother thing. We don't know who's going to play when. I mean, Landry Shamet's playing good. Deuce McBride's hurt right now. Tyler Kolek and Mo Diawara, 2 really young good guys, or 2 really young or really good young guys that they were playing a lot of minutes in January and December. Now they're not as much in the rotation. A lot of moving parts, but the main 2 that have to be consistent is Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. And I'm just waiting and hoping that this is Karl Anthony Towns picking it up, because they have a really tough matchup tomorrow night versus the Cavs on Peacock, another national television game. It's going to be another test. Another test. And hey, the Knicks, you got to get it done, because the Cavs are, I believe, a game and a half behind them, and they're coming off a loss. So this is going to be a big game for them. So, we get Mitchell Robinson back, and I hope, they with this, if they go on a 3-game winning streak, they get a little momentum after that heartbreaking loss versus the Detroit Pistons.
Mm-hmm. You guys think James cares about the Knicks, or just a little bit, maybe? No, I mean, it's just, you hit the nail on the head. It's just a matter of consistency with the Knicks. I like Cat specifically, I think is, the easiest example to talk about, but there's just not, can they do it for 48 minutes? Because in that fourth quarter versus the Rockets, when they came back down from 18, the intensity that they played with and the feeding off of the crowd, they look like the best team in basketball. They literally look unbeatable at times. I truly believe that. The way, just, again, that defensive intensity that we've seen for the past couple of years in Knicks, Alvarado coming up with steals, and then he's knocking down shots, and then your main guys, the Brunsons, the Karl Anthony Towns, can feed off of that, and it opens up their game a little bit more, and Cat starts to play more aggressive, and then it's all of a sudden it's like now Brunson's ISO in clutch time, and he's going to deliver there, but they're not doing it for 48 minutes every single night. And you talked about how the rotations have been a lot, Mike Brown is rolling out some insane rotations in the sense of he's truly trotting out everybody in that lineup right now, it seems. And one thing that honestly kind of concerned me is how for a majority of the season and even the playoffs last year, the Knicks looked best with Mitchell Robinson on the court. Yeah. And versus the Pistons, he looked non-existent. The Knicks thrive on his offensive rebounding and second chance opportunities. That just wasn't there. A lot of people talked about the shooting woes that the Knicks had versus the Pistons. They could have doubled their 3-point percentage that game. I still think they lose that game because the effort wasn't there. We just need to see that Knicks grit that we've seen for the past few seasons under Tibbs. Just bring a little bit to this new system with Mike Brown, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Just because the Pistons have beat them 3 times so far this year doesn't mean that when the playoffs roll around, the Knicks can't get into another gear.
I think so, though.
I do, just because I still believe in the certain players on the Knicks. Like the Pistons, yes, Knicks beat them in round 1 last year, but the Knicks are the more experienced team. They have been there. They have guys that have been there a couple times this year. I still think the Knicks can get it together. I still think like this is a opportunity where they're rolling out a bunch of lineups. You see what works best. Obviously, when it comes down to it, their starters have to play the best. We know what their starting lineup is going to be come playoffs. And like Shaq told Cat, he said, you have to be more aggressive. You have to be the guy that people are talking about if you want to win a championship. And Cat kind of just dished it to the side and said, oh, well, as long as we win, I don't care who they're talking about. Cat, you can't have that. Because if you want them to talk about the Knicks winning it all, you have to be someone they're talking about. Because we know Jalen Brunson will deliver. Will he have an off game every now and then? Yeah, sure. But it's when Cat has off games, the Knicks are almost uncompetitive at times because he's getting into foul trouble, because he's not being aggressive. And because of that, the rest of the offense can't flow because all the defensive attention usually just goes to Brunson. So, Cat really does have to be the guy, and we need full defensive effort from him because he can still be that guy. But yeah, I mean, the game versus the Cavs, obviously a really big test. It's been obviously a roller coaster past week for the Knicks, but can they kind of steady the ship a little? They got the big win. Can you follow it up with another big win versus another really good team in the East? You have to keep yourself in the 2 or 3 seed. You cannot fall to 4 and end up playing the Pistons potentially in the second round. If that's the case, you might want to just chalk it up for the New York Knicks, which is not a great sign. But so right now, obviously, you're a little frustrated with the Knicks. Would you say that the Knicks are more so fraudulent or less of that? If you were to say title frauds.
I think they've kind of showed their true colors already.
So you think the Knicks are frauds?
I don't think they're frauds. I think people thought that, hey, this was their year to come out of the East because it was so wide open.
So based on that, title expectations for the Knicks, frauds or not?
I don't think they're frauds.
Okay, so James does still think they have a chance of winning frauds.
It all. However, I think the expectations have dropped. They have dropped. I think at the beginning of the year, it's like, hey, we made moves. We've got pieces. You get Jordan Clarkson, who's nowhere to be found now in the rotation because of his defensive woes. But the Knicks, I will say, they've showed their true colors, and it comes down to one thing. Will Karl Anthony Towns play like the player we know he can play like? It's that simple. And if he doesn't, we can't depend on Mitchell Robinson to give us 30 minutes a night or 25 minutes a night. He literally he physically can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I want to touch back on your point about, hey, the Celtics, we lost to the Celtics 4 times last year and then find a way to beat them in 6 in the playoffs. It's a different team. It's a different team. And the thing about the Celtics is I believe they shot 30% from 3 last year in the playoffs. That is under what they shot on the year, which was 36 or 37% in the regular season. But that's a team that lived and died by the 3-point shot. And the Knicks were okay with that. They were okay with letting them dive to 3. However, the Pistons are a complete different team. They are built on every single front to be competitive come postseason. They defend the rim, they get out in transition, and they have an elite scorer and leader in Cade. And that's what a championship team needs. And that's the same thing we saw last year out of Thunder. They defended the rim, their pace was amazing, and they had an elite MVP scorer, SGA. And that's why I think if I had to pick today who's coming out of the East, yes, it's cliche. Yes, they're their number 1 seed, but it is the Pistons. Nothing has shown me that they have any sense in slowing down come April. So I don't think the Knicks are frauds, but I do think they've got a lot to prove in the next 3 weeks, not even till the end of the season. The next 3 weeks, I got to see something out of them. So,
fair enough.
yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well, speaking of frauds, let's go to our Who You Foolin' segment. And this week, it is going to be the Houston Cougars because it is just the same story, different year for them, where it is just, again, suffocating defense, but they're not fooling anyone. They're just not. It's just, we got it out the way early this season where we didn't have to get to the Big 12 tournament. And they could maybe win that because maybe it's a rematch versus Arizona and they just get them that game. But that suffocating defense will get them to the Final Four and Elite Eight, but then they'll meet their match where they're going to be forced to make big-time shots when it matters. And once again, we see that they struggle in that area. I mean, they were up at half in the national championship game last year. Their defense looked like they had Walter Clayton Jr. and the Florida Gators just lost.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that team gets back in the game. And now the pressure goes on to Houston's offense, and they just simply can't respond. So we're calling them out early this year. Houston Cougars, you guys are frauds.
Yeah, and the Cougars, I mean, they, like you said, this is not a shot at their ability to be successful in the postseason. They will make a run.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are going to make a run. There's a reason why they hang banners if you get to the Final Four. That's an amazing feat. Like, that is success. There's 64 teams in the field, and you're the one of the last 4. That is a successful postseason in my book. However, they're not fooling me, and they're not fooling Rob to be the national title pick come tournament challenge time. So,
just not.
No, they're not fooling me.
Not about it enough on the offensive end. But I will tell you who is about it. So my about it of the week this week, we talked about them in the opener, but just U.S. hockey as a whole. I was trying to think of something different just to kind of switch it up, but they were just too good. So U.S. hockey, obviously, first gold medal for the men since 1980. The women get the gold as well. Men look like they're down and out the entire second half of that game. They stay the course, find a way to win in overtime. Just really the definition of about it. Goaltending, every little thing was just so good. Even Jack Hughes, about it on the ice, about it off the ice, taking, Tate McRae from Canada. I mean, just the little things like that. It's just about it. But James, I'd love to hear, who was your about it of the week this week.
Yeah, this is a side about it, but also shout out to Megan Keller for that goal, that golden goal versus Canada for the women's team USA. That was filthy.
Nasty.
Disgusting.
Yep.
But yeah, my about it of the week, staying on course, with hockey, Gavin McKenna. I mean, the audacity of this kid to, one, knock someone out at the bar for agitating his family and his mother, gets the charges dropped, bailed out. He goes on to return to the ice Friday night, records an 8-point single-game program record versus Ohio State. He had 7 assists and 1 goal. After he scores the goal, he hits the McGregor strut to celebrate with the rest of his team. I mean, this kid is about it. And then the following night, Saturday, overtime versus Ohio State. It's 3-3. He has a signature moment. What a kid. I mean, what a guy. He goes and he scores game winner, golden goal for Penn State versus Ohio State. He had himself a weekend. And this is a kid who's going to be, I believe, the number 1 pick in the NHL draft. He is about it. A little flair that Team Canada could take, right now. But this kid, again, like I said, the audacity.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's incredible. I mean, like, usually you see hockey players are, a little quiet. They don't want to be too cocky. He knew what he was doing when he hit that celly. He went right into the act, and honestly, good for him because, the past couple of weeks that he's had have been just so chaotic.
Yeah, and then on top of that, he gets a little bit of acknowledgement from Conor McGregor on X. He gets a repost from Conor McGregor, so that's just
Which
awesome.
is crazy. Yeah,
that is sick.
You got a repost from Conor McGregor. You got to be doing something right. But yeah, just about a behavior. I mean, a lot of kids in his situation, he's still a young kid. Just because he's an insane athlete doesn't mean he's not a young kid. Yeah. But He still is. A lot of people would just play terrible after, but 8-point game, absolutely incredible. Sticking to the cold weather, my not about it of the week. This damn weather in the Northeast right now, it's probably still snowing outside. I mean, we're recording. It was snowing when I got here. It's probably still snowing outside because we got a blizzard. And just when I thought all the cold weather was done, 50 degrees this past Saturday. Now we're back to 25. Got 2 feet of snow on the ground. I'm so over this damn weather in the Northeast. All you hear is people say, "Oh, I love the snow. It's so pretty." Oh, do you? Oh, do you? You think it's pretty like a beach? Go sit in the snow like you do in sand. Go sit out there and enjoy a hot cup of cocoa. No, you don't see that. These people are frauds who say they love the winter, other than the skiing and snowboard community, the hot cocoa community. They just eat it up. All you hear is, "Oh, I love the winter." No, you like the holidays. The holidays have been done for over a month now. Can we get to spring already? Where's that little you-know-what Punxsutawney Phil? Where's that little rat? Let's get him. James, you're not about it of the week. God, man.
Oh my gosh. No, man. And the craziest part is we're seeing in the 10-day forecast, 6 of the days have snow on them in our area.
I'm moving.
I'm sick. Oh my goodness. But yeah, my not about it of the week, the Chicago Bears ownership. What are we doing? I mean, what are we doing? This is one of the founding franchises of the NFL. This is one of the most historic franchises in the NFL. You've had 2 and only 2 homes in your history. 2 very historic venues in Soldier Field and Wrigley Field. The idea that they're even entertaining moving to Northwest Indiana makes me sick. It makes me sick. Legacy franchises don't relocate just to leverage. The Bears leaving Chicago is like the Yankees leaving the Bronx, or like the Red Sox leaving Fenway. Some brands are just tied to their geography, and it's that simple. And it goes back to kind of what's going on in sports, where everyone is just trying to capitalize on the next dollar. And it's disgusting. Shame on you, Bears ownership. Disgusting.
I don't really have many words for that myself. I mean, to think about the Bears, not just like switching to a different area, but to go to a completely different state. I mean, like, what are we, the New York Giants here? Okay. The New York Jets just playing in a different state than our team actually says it is? I mean, there's land out there. Figure it out. I mean, be about it. You hear so much time with these teams when they want a new stadium and there's an ownership problems and the taxpayers and this and the state and that. Figure it out. You are the Chicago Bears. And now the team is actually good again. The team, it looks like they have a chance at winning a Super Bowl in the next coming years. So you're going to tell me that while all this is going on, you're about to just abandon your old, historic stadium and go to a different state? I mean, you just simply cannot have that. But with that being said, let's go to a new segment we have, which is the Clubhouse Callout, where it's you guys asking us questions in the comments and us responding to them. So this week, we have Brady, who said in the comments of our last video, he said, "Great episode, boys. Who are your March Madness champions as of now and why? And then who is a sleeper you think can go a long way?" So, James, let's hear your national title pick and then maybe a sleeper you think can go on a run.
My national title pick is the Arizona Wildcats. They get it done on all fronts. They have great guard play, veteran and freshman. Mm-hmm. They have a healthy balance of young sparks and that veteran presence that you need from guys like Del Orso and Bradley. And then they've got a front court with a young piece like Koa Pete, who they're winning games without right now. They are winning games. And then they also have, Burries and Karchenkov, and they get it done on all fronts, and they defend the ball really well. They score. They make big shots. They can shoot from outside. They can score from the inside. Their sets are amazing. They have a 7'2" big as their starter at the moment, and they also have another 7-footer on the bench who both play centers while Koa can play the 4. It is amazing how this team is set up, and I believe this is, my favorite to win the national championship this year. Now, my sleeper would have to be Florida.
Bro, they're not a sleeper, James. They are ranked ninth, seventh in the country now? Seventh in the country. We got James calling them a sleeper.
Here's my thing, though.
They're not a sleeper.
With the new landscape of college basketball, college sports in general, with NIL and, the transfer portal, we're going to see a lot of competition. The competitive layout is going to really level up, right? It won't be your blue bloods that are always going to be in the Elite Eight, or they're always going to find a way. It's going to be every team in that Power Four or that Power Five is going to find their way to competing somehow in some way. If it's champ week or if it's the tournament, there's going to be a lot more competition. And that sucks for the mid-majors and teams like Miami, Ohio, who are having an amazing season this year. But we are going to see a lot more competition throughout the Power 5 conferences in college basketball. But with that being said, I don't think a sleeper will come out of that 10 to 25 ranked teams.
Just to make a run? I mean, I agree with you that you're not going to see, as many maybe like Cinderella stories, but getting deep into the bracket. But
yeah.
Come on, Florida sleeper. Give me something else, James. Come on, give me a little something. Give me someone in that lower range that can make the Elite Eight or something. No one's asking for a national title.
Back to BYU.
Okay.
Now that's a team that
fair enough
just lost one of their key scorers in Richie Saunders. Hopes and prayers out to you. They look fantastic.
Yeah, I like that
Iowa
pick.
State.
I like that.
30 points from DeBonsta. That was his signature game. That was his game. That was his moment. And he might have a few more. That was his signature moment up to this point in the season, but I feel like he's got a lot more under his belt. And he had a quote that really stuck out to me in his post-game press conference where he was like, if they need me to play 40 minutes, I'll play 40 minutes. I don't know if it was a shot to Darren Peterson or not, but that's the type of stuff an NBA team is looking at and can't wait to draft. And he's young, he's athletic, he's a 3-level scorer. I know I say all the time that experience is what what helps teams. And having a team with little experience hurts you in the postseason. But man,
it's different when you're an NBA talent. That kind of separates you. But no, I like that pick because a lot of people, kind of just put BYU to the side. They had a rough stretch of losses. They played a lot of good teams, but nonetheless got a lot of losses in that stretch. Then they lose one of their key players, and it's kind of like, okay, well, they're probably done for. But when you have a guy like DeBonsta, he can carry a team to the Elite Eight just himself. I mean, some of the teams they're going to face that they'll obviously be out of conference in March Madness, just game planning for him is going to be a problem. But my national title pick right now, I know James is going to get mad and he's going to disagree, but I'm still rocking with the UConn Huskies. I really, really am. And I know they lost to Creighton at home and everyone threw a fit and everyone panicked. But people are forgetting that the 23-24 team that won a national title, I believe, lost 4 out of 5 Big East conference play games that season in February. And then they go on to the Big East tournament. They lose in the final Marquette. Everyone writes them off again. Then they win the national title as a 5 seed, I believe. And Dan Hurley literally said it himself in the post-game press conference. He basically called the shot. He said, listen, we play better out of conference than we do in conference. Everybody in conference, they know us, they know our sets, but out of conference teams don't. The sets UConn runs, if you've never actually really watched the UConn basketball game, it'll make your head spin. The offense is constantly moving, and that is so hard to prepare for on short notice in the tournament. I can't even imagine being a team that, wins a close game in the round of 32, and then you got to play UConn in 2 days, and all of a sudden that offense is coming at you. And I know their defense slipped up the past couple of games, but that second half versus Villanova, Dan Hurley rolls out Stewart and Ross together. Just two very dynamic, athletic, lengthy wings who put the clamps on. It reminded me of OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges out there. I swear. I really did. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, he knows now if he needs stops, these are the guys he goes to. And I talk a lot about needing elite guard play this time of year. UConn has that. They have Silas Demery, who he's a closer. When he's attacking the rim and then he's able to distribute, he is a killer. Then you have Braylon Mullins, who's, in my opinion, might be the best shooter in college basketball. Maybe not percentage-wise, but that kid pulls it like he's Curry, and it's incredible to watch. You have Solo Ball, who's, all-world shooter at times. So I think UConn still has the makings of a championship team.
Let me ask you this. You listen to Brent Faiyaz at all?
Yeah. Well, God, what does this have to do with UConn?
You ever listen to the song Clouded?
Yeah.
Rob's judgment is clouded right
nonsense.
now.
This is nonsense.
His judgment is clouded.
Why is my judgment clouded? I just gave you a beautiful 2-minute speech on why they can win it all.
Yeah.
And I didn't even bring up Terrace Reed or Alex Caravan.
Hey, I will say this. If they find a way to lose by double digits.
They're not to St. John's.
To St. John's.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Come this week.
They're not losing to St. John's by double digits. They're winning. They're
it's
beating.
No longer panic. It's throwing the white flag.
Okay, well, I'm telling you from right now, they're beating St. John's on Wednesday.
I'd hope the same team, the same Creighton team that they just lost to.
Oh, Lord, James.
Got blown out.
UConn blew out Creighton at Creighton 2 weeks ago, and then they lost. Yes, I understand they lost at home. It's not a great look. I understand.
At home, on campus. This was an on-campus game where
people lose at home and nobody bats an eye.
They can actually travel.
You know why? Because you guys just held to a different standard.
What just happened with Kansas?
Yeah, and everybody just said distractions. Like, okay, UConn doesn't have any distractions, so now the sky's falling. We got to relax on UConn. When they go out of conference, they're a problem. Now,
and that's the issue. The issue is, what if the committee throws in a Seton Hall, a Villanova, or a St. John's in the same quad?
They'll be all right.
They'll be all right.
I'm telling you, that half from UConn on Saturday versus Villanova was arguably the best half of basketball they've played in months. And if they didn't have as many turnovers as they did in the first half versus Villanova, they probably win by 20 points. So clean up the turnovers, keep playing that good defense. I think they beat St. John's by 10 points on Wednesday. Now, moving to my sleeper team. It's bold, but I don't know. They looked really good on Saturday. It looked like they started to get things together.
All right.
My sleeper team. Now, I wanted to say Florida earlier in the year, but obviously they're not a sleeper anymore. Texas Tech probably would have been my pick, but then they obviously have the injury. And Texas Tech is a team that, if they didn't have any injuries, I probably would pick them as a sleeper to win the national title, not just make a run. I was high on Texas Tech last year. I'm high on them again this year. Now, with the injury to Toppin, a little worried about them. So I'll go with Arkansas. I'll go with Arkansas as a team that I think can make a run. I mean, when you have a guy that's capable of dropping 50 in a college game, Acuff is just absolutely unbelievable. I trust him. I trust Calipari. I think they can make some noise. I don't know if they're good enough to get to the Final Four. Maybe. I think that's a big stretch for them. But I think they can make a run to the Elite Eight. Maybe pull off an upset there. Not good enough to win a title, but I definitely think they can they can make a run in the tournament. So
I don't hate that. I really don't.
There's a lot of teams. I think, like you said, you're going to see a lot of top-heavy teams, but I think that'll make for, a lot of really, really good hoops.
It'll be a great tournament.
Come March.
Great. And, I mean, speaking of great tournaments, we have one of the most prolific, historic tournaments going on. And this week, it's the Champions League, second leg fixtures this week. And, Rob, I know, you're not fully involved with soccer, but if I had to make a pick on who was going to win the Champions League this year, I would have to go with PSG running it back. They play on a different level. I mean, watching their forwards, Dembele, Doué, whoever it is, press the way they do, that is winning soccer. That is the type of stuff that we honestly wish we saw more out of Kylian Mbappe when he was at PSG. A lot of people say he didn't buy into what was going on at PSG with Luis Enrique. And hey, man, there's a lot of great teams in the Champions League right now. I know they expanded the tournament. Hey, our producer Skur in the back, Oscar Navarro, who is your pick right now to win the Champions League?
Barca.
Oh.
Producer Skur says Barca.
We went with our guy Lamine Yamal back there, who I think is also probably the greatest player on the planet right now. Yes, Messi, Ronaldo are still living and playing, But I mean, in terms of playing in high competition in Europe, he is the best player right now. Barcelona, I don't hate it. Don't hate it. But I feel like, I mean, I'd want to see Arsenal go and win it, but we know how they got. Rob, I feel you got to make a pick just because. You got.
Man, I hate this. I hate talking about sports and not being able to give like a confident pick about something. So I really do have to. I have to get better with my soccer knowledge. I mean, I understand the game. I just don't know the teams well enough. Like I'll be fully tuned into the World Cup. But if I had to go with one team, let's go with the Tottenham Hotspurs. This is their moment. This is their moment. I got the Tottenham Hotspurs bringing home the Champions League trophy. This is their year. I mean, I'm not going to choose one PSG or Barca. I can't tell you guys, but let's go with Tottenham. Why not? But
yeah, Tottenham doesn't have a lot of trophies to show for their success, so
that's my
tough
point.
one.
This is, things change. Just like things have to change. Just like the U.S. took down Canada and changed the narrative about hockey, It's time for Tottenham to do the same. Okay, so if you're listening, Tottenham, let's make it happen.
Hopefully we can revisit that and go back to it. But man,
can't wait for them to get upset now. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, no, it's probably not going to happen with them. But hey, man, what an amazing episode. What an amazing week of sports. Again, we have another great week coming up. Yeah, I mean, speaking of changing the narrative, that's kind of what we're trying to do. We don't want, this is just real conversation, real takes. We're not sitting here trying to get clickbait. No, this is our real opinion. This is how we feel about sports. So yeah, we appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. And then, back to our Clubhouse Callout. This is a segment that we are going to bring every week. The more you guys comment, the more we will involve, because we love it. We love seeing, different topics and different things to bring up. And, we appreciate it. We appreciate you guys for tuning in too, man. It's been a great start. And, it's only up from here, guys. It's only up from here. So, I'm James Martin III.
I'm Rob Cardini.
Our producer, Oscar Navarro in the back. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Thanks, guys. The Hillside Club.